Iman bil-Yawm al-Akhir, the belief in the last day, the fifth pillar of Al-Iman. And Al-Yawm al-Akhir, or the Day of Judgment, and the many days or the many names that we heard mentioned in the Quran about the Day of Judgment, because the importance of it. It's the day where the hearts of the believers are attached to it at all times. Believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believing in the last day, that every act and every speech and anything that we do in our life, the person will see it in the Day of Judgment, will see the effect of it, the outcome of it, either good or bad. That's why this life is a very serious one. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to worship Him alone, and everybody will be rewarded or punished accordingly in the Day of Judgment. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bestow His mercy on us and to make us among those who are forgiven in the Day of Judgment and enter the Jannah with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Last time we talked about al-Ba'ath and resurrection and the affairs of people at that stage. And since all the matter is unseen to us, we only follow the wahi revelation from Allah, the Quran, and the authentic sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The stage that comes after that is the stage of al-Hashr. And al-Hashr is the gathering of all humanity and jinn and even animals, the beasts, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that in the Quran. Everybody will be gathered for the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be served. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most just, and no dhulm and no injustice whatsoever, even if it's the weight of a mustard seed, would never be taken to matters of justice. No unjust act whatsoever would not be held accountable for this action, even among the animals, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ. And as we will see inshallah ta'ala, the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about this. So everybody will be gathered in the Ard al-Mahshar, in the land of Al-Hashr, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that in the Quran in some ayat, one of which يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ, on the day when the earth will be exchanged or replaced by another, and the heavens also. Everything will be totally changed. It's not the same earth, and also the skies will be changed. This is as the ayah says. And the Prophet ﷺ, and I will just pick one hadith, although there are many, he said alayhi salatu wasalam in the hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, the hadith of Sahl ibn Sa'd radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet ﷺ said, يُحْشَرُ النَّاسُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ عَلَى أَرْضٍ بَيْضَاءَ عَفْرَاء كَقَبْصَةٍ النَّقِيِّ قال سهل أو غير ليس فيها معلم لأحد, which means the people will be gathered in the Day of Judgment on a land. There is white, and the whiteness of it has some color to it, whether it's reddish or changing of the white, not extreme whiteness in it, like the daqiq, or like the flour when it's very pure. And as it was also said, ليس فيها معلم لأحد. There's no sign on it for nobody. There's no special place better than another place. There's no hilly place or mountains, or everything is flat, everybody on the same level. Nobody has any superiority over the other. Everybody's gathered in the Day of Judgment after they have been resurrected from their graves, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. And the ayah that I just mentioned in the tafsir of it, and actually there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when will the earth will be changed and the heavens and so on. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith in Sahih Muslim, على الصراط, where will people would be. The Prophet ﷺ said they will be on the sirat. They will be on the sirat, over the hellfire, meaning passing on it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows this. But then when it comes to the Day of Judgment, and looking into these ahwal and these major things that everybody will witness, and this is again something that we should take back into this life, and it will make us make decisions and repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do things in the right way, because really nothing really matters at the end except one's actions, either good or bad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most wise, gave us in this life so much ayat and signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that makes the matter clear to us, makes it easy for us to think and to see what is right and what is wrong when we follow the wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then when we look into the Day of Judgment, when people are gathered, they will be resurrected and gathered according to their actions in this life. So that's why the way they were classified in this life, they will be classified in the Day of Judgment. Kuffar, disbelievers, believers, believers that are sinners, and among them hypocrites, for example, and the kuffar, with them the hypocrites, the major hypocrites, those are even in the lowest level than the kuffar, those who had disbelief in their hearts and they pretended to be among the believers. So they are with the categories of the kuffar and actually worst level, but they will be with the believers for some time till they will be separated from them. And among the believers, there are the believers that will enter Jannah from the first instant. There's no harm on them, there's no miseries whatsoever. And among the believers, those who will suffer in the Day of Judgment before entering the Jannah. They will suffer in the Day of Judgment, and the Day of Judgment, its length is 50,000 years, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'arij. تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة فاصبر صبرا جميلا إنه يرونه بعيدا والله قريب. And this is what is referred in the ayah is the Day of Judgment, as the context refers to this, that it's 50,000 years long, and as a result of that, فاصبر صبرا جميلا. Be patient, not just any patience. Patience is bitter. Sometimes you're patient, but you don't like it. You're suffering. No, if you think that it's the Day of Judgment only is 50,000 years long, then have a beautiful sabr. The sabr should be sabr with beauty with it. It's an enjoyable one. So when a person is being patient with the orders of Allah and away from sins, and even with the calamities and things happens, he's patient and he's even enjoying that. Because what's coming afterwards is horrors and things of that nature. So it's definitely worth it to be patient. But then when we look into the verses of the Quran and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, you would find the nature of how the disbelievers will be and how the believers and so on. So we mentioned some of these evidences, some of these ayat, that some of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, so that also it can have an effect. Plus it's a matter of aqeedah, since the subject is pillars of al-Iman and pillars of matters of aqeedah, matters of belief. So it's increasing our belief by believing in these unseen matters. The Day of Judgment, and this is from the book of Dr. Ashqar rahimahullah, when he mentioned that in these levels, in very nice classification, when he talked about the Day of Judgment being it's Yawm Azim. It's a very exalted, important day. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُثُونَ لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Don't they think that they will be resurrected? لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ. It's a azim day. It's a day that is azim. Something so great. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about something that is great, there's nothing greater than this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentioned in the Quran that on that day, meaning the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have the things that in it will make the disbelievers in such a state of horror, as it is mentioned in the Quran, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ إِنَّمَا يُؤَخِّرُهُمْ لِيَوْمٍ تَشْخَصُ فِيهِ الْأَبْصَارُ مُهْطِعِينَ مُقْنِعِي رُءُوسِهِمْ لَا يَرْتَدُّ إِلَيْهِمْ طَرْفُهُمْ وَأَفْئِدَتُهُمْ هَوَاءٌ. It's a beautiful verse that shows the situation of the ظالمين, the just ones, the transgressors, the disbelievers. Do not think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Do not think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is heedless or forgetful about what the ظالمون are doing. إِنَّمَا يُؤَخِّرُهُمْ. It's only that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them, delaying the day where they will be held accountable for. This is not the time of punishment. In this life, nobody is really punished, the real punishment. Right? The real punishment is in the hereafter. So the believers, they should not be deceived when they see the transgressors or the wrongdoers that are being left to do whatever they want in this life, because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran. He is keeping them till the Day of Judgment. لِيَوْمٍ تَشْخَصُ فِيهِ الْأَبْصَارُ. The day when the eyes of the transgressors, the disbelievers, would not move, would not blink. as a result of the horror that they are witnessing and they are waiting for them. مهطعين مقنعي رؤوسهم لا يرتد إليهم طرفهم وأفئدتهم هواء. They are in such a state of not humbleness, but humiliation, and their eyes would not even blink, and their hearts is as if it's flying in the air. It's something that is so, what a person would feel because of the fear that he has, that his heart will come out of himself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَكَيْفَ تَتَّقُونَ إِن كَفَرْتُمْ يَوْمًا يَجْعَلُ الْوِلْدَانَ شِيبًا. Then how would you do? How to shield yourself from a day that if you disbelieve in it, it's a day where the young, they will become grey because of the horrors of the Day of Judgment. Nobody will benefit no one, and these are the characteristics of the Day of Judgment. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ فَلَا أَنْسَابَ بَيْنَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَلَا يَتَسَاءَلُونَ. If the sword, the trumpet, has been blown in, meaning the Day of Judgment, no ansab, no lineage will benefit the person. The father is the most righteous, he's from the lineage of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It doesn't matter, it only matters that the person is righteous. But if the person is not, then he is held accountable for his actions. And the many verses, فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الصَّاخَّةُ يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ. People would flee from one another, from his brother, from his father, from his mother, the loved ones in his life. They would flee from one another. They would rather save themselves and take the hasanat and the good deeds from their own mother and father to save themselves from the hellfire, even if all of their families will go to the hellfire. Even the whole entire earth and what's on it will go to the hellfire as long as the person is saved and enter Jannah. And this is how things will be in the Day of Judgment. So, and always these verses in the Quran, you would find the orders of Allah in there so that nobody will be heedless. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم واخشوا يوما لا يجزي والد عن ولده ولا مولود هو جاز عن والده شيئا إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور. O mankind, اتقوا ربكم, fear your Lord, be obedient to your Lord, واخشوا يوما, and fear a day no father will avail and benefit his son, and no son will avail and benefit his father or his parents. Inna wa'dallahi haqq. Indeed, the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the truth. So don't be deceived by this dunya, don't be deceived by this life. And this is where the matter has been made clear to us. We have been ordered, we have been forbidden to be deceived in this life, and then it's our choice whether to continue to be deceived or to take the matter serious. And the Prophet ﷺ, as the hadith of Anas radiallahu anhu and the hadith in Bukhari and others, where the Prophet ﷺ said, يُجَاءُ بِالْكَافِرِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَيُقَالُ لَهُ أَرَأَيْتَ لَوْ كَانَ لَكَ مِلْءُ الْأَرْضِ ذَهَبًا أَكُنْتَ تَفْتَدِي بِهِ. The disbeliever will be brought in the Day of Judgment, and he will be told, if you have the earth full of gold, would you ransom yourself today? Give this away for yourself to be saved? He would say, نعم. He would say, yes. So فيقال له قد كنت سألتك ما هو أيسر من ذلك. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say to them, I asked you to do something much, much easier than this. Right? We're not ordered to give what's the earth full of gold to save ourselves. We're just ordered to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and to be obedient to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is some of the things about the Day of Judgment, and since it's so long, the ayat in the Quran talks about an hour, talks about a short period of time where people they get together as if they're meeting and they depart, and all of this is a reminder of what's coming ahead. If we go through what's mentioned in the Quran, the best ways to do it, there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned 3 surahs. If a person wants to see the Day of Judgment in this life with his heart, with the means of basira, vision, as if he's seen it with his own eyes, let him recite Surah إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ انفَطَرَتْ وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ. And the 3 surahs, most of even the young ones, they have it memorized. So to recite these surahs, to ponder over them, as the hadith of the Tirmidhi, that the Prophet ﷺ said, مَنْ سَرَّهُ أَنْ يَنْظُرَ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ فَلْيَقْرَأْ إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ انْفَطَرَتْ وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ. Whoever would like to see the Day of Judgment, let him recite these 3 surahs. So it's important for us to ponder over these surahs also, inshallah. But we won't do that now, which is something that we should do on our own, and maybe in the sessions of tafsir we can do that. When it comes to the affairs of the people, the kuffar, we know what will happen to them, and it's mentioned in the Quran and some of the hadith that we mentioned. Allah subhanahu, as an example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَوْمَ يَخْرُجُونَ مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ سِرَاعًا كَأَنَّهُمْ إِلَى نُصُبٍ يُوفِضُونَ خَاشِعَةً أَبْصَارُهُمْ تَرْهَقُهُمْ ذِلَّةٌ ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الَّذِي كَانُوا يُوعَدُونَ. They will be resurrected from their death, and they will go in heedless very quickly, as if they are going to the things that they used to worship. The way they would used to rush to the things that they worshipped in this life, they would rush also in the Day of Judgment, but to their own destruction, and they are instead of humble or humility because of what's waiting for them. And they would curse one another. And there is even one subject by itself in the Quran. It's so interesting when the person would read it. And as we said before, one of the things that the early generations of Islam used to do, they would sometimes recite the Quran from the beginning of the end of it, looking for one meaning, because they always finish the Quran recitation. So he would say, I want to finish the whole Quran just pondering over one meaning. Like, for example, the Day of Judgment. He's reading the whole Quran, but he's focused more, his mind is focused on the Day of Judgment, how the Day of Judgment is being mentioned in the Quran, or how the people will deal with each other in the Day of Judgment. Because people in this life, they're interacting and dealing with each other, they're fitna for one another in this life. Many people, they become disbelievers or sinners because of other people. Most of the reasons is because of other people, whether it's loved ones or enemies or whatever. So how they would be in the Day of Judgment, or how the situation between the people and shaitan in the Day of Judgment, all of that is mentioned in the Quran. The deeds of the disbelievers will be in vain, will be lost in the Day of Judgment. All of the things of goodness that they did in this life, thinking it would benefit them, they would find it all wasted. Because the disbelievers in the Day of Judgment, they would come, some of them, they had committed so much atrocities in this life, right? And this is clear, they would face their fate in the Day of Judgment. Some of them, they thought that they were doing good, and they would meet what is good in the Day of Judgment. They think that they are on the truth. And they would face the total opposite in the Day of Judgment, and this is a great loss and regret, and there's no point of return. But those who will be punished after the message has been presented to them clearly, and they denied it out of ignorance or so, but still they thought that they are doing what is correct. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيعَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَهُ لَمْ يَجِدْهُ شَيْئًا وَوَجَدَ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ فَوَفَّاهُ حِسَابَهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That the disbelievers, their deeds is like a mirage, that a person sees from a distance in the desert when he's so thirsty, he thinks there is water there, and once he gets there, he finds nothing. So this is the example of the disbelievers when they come in the Day of Judgment thinking that they did great things. They gave charity, they helped others, they were nice people, but they did not fulfill the purpose of their life after the message came to them. So whoever wants to be sincere to them, he should not deceive them more, right? He should advise them. He should try to get them to understand that follow the revelation from Allah, follow the wahy from Allah, worship none but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the same thing with what they spend. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَثَلُ مَا يُنْفِقُونَ فِي هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا كَمَثَلِ رِيحٍ فِيهَا صِرٌّ أَصَابَتْ حَرْثَ قَوْمٍ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ فَأَهْلَكَتْهُ وَمَا ظَلَمَهُمُ اللَّهُ وَلَكِنْ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. That the example or the parable of what they spend, meaning the disbelievers in this life, is like a wind that has extreme cold in it. And we feel that these days. And it affects their crops when it's very low temperature. It destroys the crops that they want to harvest and so on. This is the same way when it comes to the deeds of the disbelievers in the Day of Judgment. They thought that they put the seed and they worked hard on the land, but then they gain nothing, and they gain nothing but the punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Islam, when they said, what is the most fearful ayat in the Quran? Not the ayat that talks about the punishment of the hereafter or specific punishment here or there. They said it's the ayah at the end of Surah Al-Kahf. قُلْ هَلْ نُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِالْأَخْسَرِينَ أَعْمَالًا الَّذِينَ ضَلَّ سَعْيُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ يُحْسِنُونَ صُنْعًا. That say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, should I inform you of al-akhsarina a'mala, the worst of deeds of the people, the worst people ever in their loss of their deeds? Who are they? الَّذِينَ ضَلَّ سَعْيُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, those who they were deviated and their actions in this life were deviated and lost and in vain. وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ, and they count themselves as they are good doers. Right? Almost every human being. No human being would say, I'm a bad doer. Everybody would say that they're good doers. Right? Everybody. So, who is right? Then we have to have a criteria. And we have to have this also in ourselves. The weakest level of Iman is the belief of the adat, is the cultural belief. That a person is just grown up, this is how things are, and he's just with whoever is with. Whoever looks like him, or from his tribe, or from his people, this is what he believes. But the proper belief is when a person has a criteria, he believes based on evidences. The matter is so clear to him. And if you leave it to the human being, it's desires versus desires, it's opinions versus opinions. But what is the criteria? It has to be revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why whoever believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never leave his creation like this lost. And what is the fact that happened in this life? Messengers have been sent. So people need to follow the messengers of Allah, and you would find by the mercy of Allah that other than the deen of Islam, it's all any other things but facts. It's not facts. It's not wahy. They cannot authenticate anything from any revelation. It's all sayings and things of no authenticity to it whatsoever. But you would find the wahy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserved clear when it comes to matters of the Day of Judgment and so on. So this is the worst of the people, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. And you would see that people in the Day of Judgment, and you can imagine the scene that how people will be enemies to each other, all of them. All the humanity will be enemies to each other. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الْأَخِلَّاءُ يَوْمَئِذٍ بَعْضُهُمْ لِبَعْضٍ عَدُوٌّ إِلَّا الْمُتَّقِينَ. Al-Akhillah, the best friends, the highest level of love and friendship and whatever, they will be enemies to each other, except the muttaqeen. Only the muttaqeen, their friendship or their relationship in this life will be benefiting in the Day of Judgment. That means any other relationship not based on the deen of Islam, not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be source of misery and enmity in the Day of Judgment. And as an example of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَبُرِّزَتِ الْجَحِيمُ وَالْغَاوِينَ وَقِيلَ لَهُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ هَلْ يَنْصُرُونَكُمْ أَمْ يَنْتَصِرُونَ فَكُبْكِبُوا فِيهَا هُمْ وَالْغَاوُونَ وَجُنُودُ إِبْلِيسَ أَجْمَعُونَ قَالُوا وَهُم فِيهَا يَخْتَصِمُونَ تَاللَّهِ إِن كُنَّا لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ إِذْ نُسَوِّيكُم بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. The ayat when the Jahannam will be presented to the people, and it will be said to them, where the things that you used to worship besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, would they benefit you? Would they give you victory? And they will be thrown into the hellfire themselves and those who deceived them, and all of the deputies of the police, all of them will be thrown into the hellfire, and they will say in it, while they are in dispute with one another, cursing one another and disputing with one another, Wallahi, they would say, Wallahi, we were all deviated when we made you. They're talking to their gods that they used to worship. When they made them the like of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbil Alameen, when they worship them, when the worship is supposed to be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمَا أَضَلَّنَا إِلَّا الْمُجْرِمُونَ, and the mujrimun, the criminals, the evil ones, are the ones that led us astray. But then it's too late, and this is many places in the Quran. Even prophets, Isa alayhi salam, Isa the son of Mary, will distance himself, يتبغض, from those who worshipped him besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we know at the end of Surah Al-Ma'idah. وَإِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا عِيسَى بْنَ مَرْيَمَ أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَهَيْنِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Day of Judgment will say to Isa alayhi salam, and imagine in front of the masses of the people, he will say to Isa alayhi salam, أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ, did you say to the people, اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَهَيْنِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, take me and my mother, إِلَهَيْنِ, to be worshipped besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? قال سبحانك, he said, Subhanak, glory be to you. ما يكون لي أن أقول ما ليس لي بحق. It is not for me, does not befit me to say what is not the truth. And that's why even by the power of Allah, even though the books have been altered and changed, there is not even one verse in the Bible that is present today that Isa alayhi salam said clearly, explicitly like this, worship me besides Allah. Never. You would never find it. And you would find a whole aqidah, a whole creed based on this, when there's nothing, even one clear, explicit statement would say that. If it's the foundation of the religion, you need to have the book from the beginning to the end talking about it. It's not a ruling halal or haram that people might have differences of opinions. And that's why you see in the Quran, people when they always read the Quran, they say, the Quran is all about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, the Quran is about the tawheed, nothing else. Everything else is related to the tawheed. Even the halal and the haram, you would find the verses in it related to worship none but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The whole Quran from the beginning to the end is about the oneness of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's no ambiguity in the matter. The matter is so clear. You don't need to have a debate in the Quran to extract evidences who's the one that is worthy of worship. Right? And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that will happen in the Day of Judgment. Till the end of the ayat. And also the weak and oppressed will curse and dispute with those who oppress them. Right? And there are many verses of the Quran also that mentions this. It's something that we need to also ponder over them. And without going into the details of this and the shaitan to the human beings, the shaitan all of a sudden he becomes someone that sounds that he's righteous. قال الشيطان لما قضي الأمر إن الله وعدكم وعد الحق ووعدتكم فأخلفتكم. The shaitan, when the matter is finished and it's over, he would say, Allah promised you the truth and I promised you and I deceived you, because he is a deceiver. And I did not have any sultan, any authority over him. He does not force anyone to do anything. He just whispered and adorned the evil to the people, and people followed him. And he would distance himself from them. And the weak will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to punish those who deceive them more. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will respond to them that all of you will now fire. And every person in hellfire will think that nobody have more punishment than him. And so on. So this is a real situation with the disbelievers. For the time being, inshallah, whatever is left, also those who will be punished among the believers. Although that if they died in the state of Islam, they eventually will enter Jannah. But some of them will be punished in the Day of Judgment. And some of them will be punished in the Day of Judgment and in hellfire. And then they enter Jannah. Right? So some will be only punished in the Day of Judgment and they won't enter the hellfire. Because the punishment in the Day of Judgment will be enough for the sins to be wiped away and they will enter Jannah. And among these people, those who do not, for example, give or pay the zakah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about them, سَيُطَوَّقُونَ مَا بَخِلُوا بِهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ, he said in the authentic hadith in Sahih Muslim, where he said ﷺ, مَا مِنْ صَاحِبِ ذَهَبٍ وَلَا فِضَّةٍ لَا يُؤَدِّي فِيهَا حَقًّا. I will say the hadith briefly, but this is in the Day of Judgment. There is no person that has gold or silver, and he does not give the rights of it, does not pay zakah from it, whatever he has. And the same category comes with money. إِلَّا إِذَا كَانَ يَوْمُ الْقِيَامَةِ صُفِّحَتْ لَهُ صَفَائِحٌ مِنْ نَارٍ. When in the Day of Judgment, these gold and silver will be made plates of fire. And it will be put in the fire, فَيُقْوَى بِهَا جَنْبُهُ وَجَبِينُهُ اللَّهُ. His side and back and will be branded by these hot plates of fire from his own wealth, right, that he did not give for the sake of Allah as far as the zakah is concerned. كُلَّمَا بَرُدَتْ أُعِيدَتْ عَلَيْهِ. Every time it becomes cold, and how long would that take? When it's already heated, not from the fire of this dunya, fire from the hellfire. And when it cools down, it will be brought back again to the fire to be heated, and then on his back and on his side. As the Prophet ﷺ said, فِي يَوْمٍ كَانَ مِقْدَارُهُ 50,000 سَنَةً. In a day, its length is 50,000 years. حَتَّى يُقْضَى بَيْنَ الْعِبَادِ. Till the judgment will be done among the people, then he will see his path, whether to the Jannah or to the hellfire. So this is with regards to those who died in the state of Islam but they didn't pay the zakah. Then the Prophet ﷺ, the hadith is long, talked about the different types of wealth that people didn't pay zakah on. Camels, then the camels will come on the day of judgment and it will be made spacious space for him on the day of judgment, and these camels that he did not give for zakah will keep on running on him back and forth, right, on that person in a day its length of 50,000 years long, till the matter will be dealt with judgment and whether he will enter the Jannah or the hellfire. Also, as the Prophet ﷺ, he said that no one with a mustard seed of kibr or arrogance will enter Jannah. And the ulama, they say, even if he is among the believers, that means he won't enter Jannah from the first instant. He has to be punished first. And as he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, يُحْشَرُ الْمُتَكَبِّرُونَ أَمْثَالَ الذَّرِّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. The mutakabbirun, the arrogant ones, will be gathered in the day of judgment in the like of the small ants. في صور الرجال, in the image of men, but they are like small ants. يَغْشَاهُمُ الذُّلُّ مِنْ كُلِّ مَكَانٍ. The dhull and the humility will be covering them from all places. So this is how they will be in the day of judgment. And many hadith, of course, mention about this. There is people where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not speak to them, will not purify their souls because of the sins that they did, as concealing, for example, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, concealing the truth, as the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, where he said alayhi salatu wasalam, ثَلَاثَةٌ لَا يُكَلِّمُهُمُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. 3 types of people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not speak to them in the day of judgment. He will not purify them, and they have a severe punishment. Disbelievers, no. This is talking about the believers. Al-Musbil, the one that dragged his garment below his ankle. Al-Mannan, the one that bragged about his sadaqah, his charity. He gives charity to someone, but then he keeps on reminding that person of his favors on him. And Al-Munafiq, سِلْعَتَهُ بِالْحَلِفِ الْكَاذِبِ, the one that would sell his merchandise by swearing, by lying and swearing. He would say, Wallahi, I'm losing on this. Right? Swearing and he's lying. He's not losing. He's making profit, but he's swearing so that he can sell his merchandise. This is the 3 types of people that they will have severe punishment in the day of judgment. And again, with the perspective of Iman, so that the person have the proper aqeedah. They died in the state of Islam, either they are forgiven or if they're punished, eventually they will enter Jannah. They will not be in hellfire forever, but the punishment will be also in the day of judgment. Also, there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, ثلاثة, also 3 types of people, لا يكلمهم الله يوم القيامة ولا ينظر إليهم ولا يزكيهم ولهم عذاب أليم. He won't talk to them, he won't look at them, and he won't purify them, and they have a severe punishment. رجل منع من السبيل فضل ماء عنده. A man deprived a wayfarer from extra water that he doesn't really, it's not necessity for him. He deprived this wayfarer from some water that he has. Right? He will be dealt like this in the day of judgment. A wayfarer, that means he is in need of water. As we know, the traveling, they don't have provisions, or the provisions is finished, and he needs it as a necessity for his life. And that person has extra. It's not like he will die if you give it to him, and he will deprive him from this. And وَرَجُلْ حَلَفَ عَلَى سِلْعَتِهِ بَعْدَ الْعَصْرِ يَعْنِي كَاذِبًا. And a man swear, also lying when it comes to buying and selling. وَرَجُلْ بَايَعَ إِمَامًا فَإِنْ أَعْطَاهُ وَفَّ لَهُ وَإِنْ لَمْ يُعْطِهِ لَمْ يَفِ لَهُ. And a man gave the pledge to the imam or to the leader, and if this leader will be good to him, he will continue with his pledge. If not, he will break his pledge. And this hadith is quoted by Tirmidhi, and it's Hasan or Sahih, and it's sound hadith. And there are few hadith like this, one of which also authentic hadith, al-aql walidayn. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not look at them, will not speak to them. Those who are bad to their parents, and they're not kind to their parents. وَالْمَرْأَةُ الْمُتَرَجِّلَةُ الْمُتَشَبِّهَةُ بِالرِّجَالِ. And the woman, al-mutarajjila, the woman that is acting like a man, boyish woman, right? She looks like a man, she talks like a man, she walks like a man, she wears men's clothes, right? And we know these types of examples. And with the youth. And the youth is the man that accepts in his household the sin when it comes to his, especially the females in his household. The man, and the youth is for a man. This is specifically for men. The man that would accept or would approve, it's okay for him, the sinful act in his household from his wife, from his daughter, that sins involving the women, not wearing hijab, having boyfriends, for example, being exposed. He's as they call him, moderate guy, and he's far away from moderate. This is extremism, right? And we have to put things in the right perspective. The extremism is the one that is away from the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a severe punishment, and it's not something to point fingers, but it's something to save ourselves before the day of judgment, to advise one another, to protect ourselves from these evil sins. And many men, they become weak when it comes to their wives and their daughters and so on. So they become source of the punishment for them. And this is where the fitna mentioned in the Quran, and they are enemies to you. يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِنَّ مِنْ أَزْوَاجِكُمْ وَأَوْلَادِكُمْ عَدُوًّا لَكُمْ فَاحْذَرُوهُ. Or you who believe, among your wives and your children are enemies to you. So be warned against this. Right? Forgive them, yes, as the ayah says, pardon them, be kind to them, but don't let them disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't let them for you to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the sin committed by the wife, the sin committed by the daughter in the household of the man, he is the number one responsible, and they are responsible. And he will be held accountable because he's in charge. And he is not to approve sins like this knowingly, of course. If it's not something that he knows, and he's not his fault is something different. Few hadith like this. Also, one of the things that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from it, and it's since we say we're following the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, so even if we are in these bad deeds, we still have to mention it, and we have to make sure that we seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with regarding to these things to avoid it. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, Sahih al-Jami', where it's in Surah Tirmidhi and others, where the Prophet ﷺ said to one of his companions, he was burping, right? So he says to him, كُفَّ عَنَّا جُشَاءَكَ, let us be away from your burping, right? يقول فإن أكثرهم شبعا في الدنيا أطولهم جوعا يوم القيامة. He said the most people that will be hungry in the day of judgment are the most that are full in this life. So we eat too much. I eat too much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. But it's something that we need to work on ourselves to eat less. Meaning, does it make what is haram or what is halal haram? Should we forbid the halal? No. And eating, there's nothing wrong with eating. But being hungry is a good thing. So when a person fasts the month of Ramadan, inshallah, he's doing good. Because he's fasting the month of Ramadan as an obligation. Plus, what becomes evil, as the ulama, they say, the person, his life is around food. His happiness and sadness. He's miserable when there's no food. But he cannot take it to be hungry. So he will act different. He will be ungrateful. He will do things that are crazy just because the food that he likes is not there. You'd find a person going to his home after a long day of work and his wife didn't cook food. Right? And it becomes a major thing. Yes, of course, she should take care of husband and so on, but life is not about food. The Prophet ﷺ, he would go home and he would ask, is there food? And the Prophet ﷺ would not ask unless he's hungry. Right? And when he is told there's nothing, he would say that I'm fasting today. That's coming after Fajr in the morning, and he didn't eat anything, and that's where the ulama, they said, then it's permissible if it's an optional fast, not for the fasting, that you can have the intention after Fajr, as long as you didn't eat anything from Fajr time, because this is what the Prophet ﷺ sometimes would do. So the point here is, there's food everywhere, right? But the point is, the person should not make his life goes around food, happiness, sadness, and so on. Happiness and sadness and something, this is matters of deen, this is what makes him sad. And the Prophet ﷺ said, in the authentic hadith in Muslim Imam Ahmad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the parable, the example of this dunya. ضرب الله مثلا الحياة الدنيا كمثل طعام أحدكم أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. The example or the parable of this dunya, of this life, is like your food, the food of one of you. يقول فإذا حزقه أو كما لا أذكر الكلمة بالضبط وملحه. That means if the person would beautify his food and take care of it so much, right, which is nothing wrong with that, put salt on it and cook it, do it in the best way manner, and then after that, what happens to this food becomes rotten, as one of the narrations, that it will be natan and rotten, that he cannot stand it behind his house. When you throw the garbage, the day of garbage, you open the garbage, this delicious food that you spend so much wealth in and so on becomes rotten that you can't stand it whatsoever. This is the example of this dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made things like this for a reason, so that the person would make sure that his reason would become in such a way that would make him humble, and he would make decisions as a result of this. And as even when a person thinks when it comes to food, since this is mentioned, it's very clear that the joy of the food is how long? It's something very short. Only when the food is in one's mouth. Once it goes down, you don't enjoy it when it's in your stomach. Right? It's only enjoyable when it's in the mouth. How long does it take for the food to be the morsel of food? It's only seconds. This is the time of joy. And then once it's in the stomach, whether it's bread or the most expensive food, it feels the same. So it's just the patience of whatever in the mouth, right, that a person would eat if he's hungry, not to be worried about being hungry and so on. And again, nothing wrong with the person eating what he likes. But every time we eat, it has to be the perfect food. And it has to be something that we enjoy so much. That's why even the Imam from the early generations of Islam, when they say, when means of upbringing the children, that once in a while, you just, what's the food? Nothing but bread. So that they get used to that it's not about food, we're not created to eat. Eating is a mean and not the goal in this life. But then, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. But this is what people would suffer in the day of judgment, or some suffering accordingly to how they acted in this life. We passed 9 o'clock, but we'll stop here inshallah ta'ala. And there are more examples of what believers or sinners would face in the day of judgment, that it's good to continue inshallah ta'ala with the subject, with some more hadith next time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us life.